What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is the fear you refuse to face? That fear of failure? It's not your enemy, but the silent thief stealing your greatness every day. Today, you will learn how to break free from those chains and rise like never before. Because the truth is, failure is not the end. It's the beginning of everything you were meant to become. Welcome to Still Rise, the place where silence meets strength, and every whisper of doubt is met with an unshakable voice within. Here we uncover the hidden power in your struggles and transform fears into fuel. If you're ready to embrace the silence inside you and ignite a fire of unstoppable courage, you're in the right place. And now, let's begin the journey. Imagine waking up each day feeling paralyzed by the fear of failure. It's not just a thought, it's a weight pressing on your chest, a shadow that follows you relentlessly. You avoid trying new things, avoid risks, and silently whisper to yourself that maybe you're just not good enough. You watch others chase their dreams while you remain stuck, frozen by the what-ifs and the haunting voice that says, "What if you fail?" But here's what you don't realize: that voice is lying. It is the fear of failure speaking, but failure itself is a misunderstood friend. It is not the enemy that stops you. It's the lesson that teaches you to grow. The truth is, every successful person you admire has failed. Many times over. Courage wasn't in never falling, it was in rising, again and again. To overcome the fear of failure, you must first understand what failure truly is. Failure is not a permanent label. It's a moment, a stepping stone, a signal that you're pushing your boundaries. When you shift your perspective to see failure as feedback rather than defeat, your entire mindset begins to change. This transformation is the gateway to courage. You will start to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to learn and evolve. This is not easy. Fear is deeply wired in our brains. It triggers our fight or flight response, urging us to play it safe. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite fear. And that decision is yours to make every single day. You will learn how to quiet the voice that doubts you, how to build small victories that fuel your confidence, and how to embrace discomfort as a sign that you are growing. The journey to overcoming fear of failure is a path walked in silence and strength, one step at a time. You are not alone in this. In fact, the greatest achievements in history were born from moments of doubt, fear, and even despair. You will hear their stories. You will see their struggles reflected in your own. And you will discover the secret that turns failure into power. So take a deep breath. Let go of the need for certainty. Welcome the unknown as a friend. Because when you learn to dance with failure, you unlock a life of freedom, possibility, and true success. This is the story of how to overcome fear of failure. And it begins now. The next step in overcoming the fear of failure lies in understanding the stories we tell ourselves. The inner narrative that either lifts us up or holds us down. Every thought you have about failure shapes your reality. If you believe failure defines you, if you see it as proof that you're not good enough, that story will control your every move. But what if you could rewrite that story? What if you could become the author of your own courage and resilience? It begins by noticing the voice inside your head. That critical inner voice that whispers, "You can't do this," or "You're going to fail again." That voice is not your enemy, but it is not your friend either. It is a habit, a pattern learned over years of experiences, fears, and disappointments. The good news is, habits can be changed. You can retrain your mind to speak differently, to believe differently. One of the most powerful tools to do this is self-awareness. Simply noticing when fear arises and what thoughts follow. When you catch yourself slipping into negative self-talk, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this helpful? Most often you will find that the fears are exaggerated stories, not facts. Replace those stories with truths. Reminders of your past successes, your strengths, and your ability to overcome challenges before. This practice rewires your brain, builds a new pathway, one of encouragement instead of defeat. Alongside self-awareness, practicing self-compassion is crucial. Fear of failure often grows from harsh judgment and unforgiving standards. You might be harder on yourself than anyone else ever could be. But the greatest courage begins with kindness. Kindness toward your struggles, your mistakes, your human imperfection. Imagine treating yourself the way you would treat a dear friend who is afraid to try. Would you berate them for their fears? Would you offer support, encouragement, and patience? Your relationship with yourself sets the tone for how you face challenges. When you cultivate self-compassion, fear loses much of its power. You create a safe space inside yourself where mistakes are allowed and growth is celebrated. This inner safety is the foundation for bold action. Another vital element in overcoming fear is shifting your focus from outcomes to effort. So often, fear is linked to the desire for perfect results. But life is unpredictable, and perfection is an illusion. When you measure your worth by outcomes, you tie your identity to things beyond your control. Instead, focus on what you can control: the effort you put in, the choices you make, and your willingness to keep trying. Celebrate the act of showing up, regardless of the result. This mindset frees you to take risks, to experiment, to learn without fear of judgment. It turns every attempt into a victory, because effort itself is growth. Building this mindset takes practice, and it's normal to stumble. But each time you choose effort over fear, you build resilience. You strengthen the muscles of courage that carry you through the hardest moments. Finally, remember that fear is a shared human experience. You are not alone in this struggle. Even the most successful people have wrestled with self-doubt and fear of failure. What sets them apart is not the absence of fear, but their commitment to keep moving forward despite it. Surround yourself with stories, people, and environments that inspire you to be brave. Seek out role models who have faced failure and risen. Let their journeys remind you that failure is part of the process, not the end. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. Overcoming fear does not happen overnight. It is a lifelong practice of small steps, quiet victories, and continuous growth. Your courage is built one moment at a time in the choices you make every day. So when fear knocks at your door, greet it with curiosity, not surrender. Ask yourself what lesson it brings, what strength you can find in facing it. And then, take the step forward anyway. Because on the other side of fear lies the life you are meant to live. The life where you rise silently, powerfully, and without apology. Your journey continues, and every step forward is proof that you are stronger than your fear. As you continue on this path of overcoming fear, it's important to understand how your environment shapes your mindset. The people you surround yourself with, the stories you consume, and the habits you nurture all influence how you face failure. Fear of failure often grows in isolation, fed by doubt and negativity. But courage thrives in connection, support, and positive reinforcement. Consider this: when you are around people who believe in you, even when you stumble, your fear starts to lose its power. Their faith becomes a mirror reflecting your own potential. On the other hand, toxic environments filled with criticism, jealousy, or constant comparison can amplify your fears, making you question your worth and your abilities. Part of overcoming fear is learning to curate your environment carefully. This might mean setting boundaries with people who drain your energy or discourage your growth. It might mean seeking out mentors, friends, or communities that inspire and uplift you. These connections serve as anchors when fear tries to pull you under. Beyond people, the stories you tell yourself and the content you consume also matter deeply. What you watch, read, and listen to shapes your beliefs about failure and success. Surround yourself with stories of resilience, stories of those who failed many times but never gave up. Absorb their lessons. Let their experiences remind you that failure is not a dead end, but a necessary part of the journey. Also, develop habits that build mental and emotional strength. Daily practices such as journaling your fears and victories, meditation to calm the mind, and visualization of success can rewire your brain for courage. Habits anchor your mindset in action. They turn abstract ideas about overcoming fear into real, lived experiences. The power of daily small actions is often underestimated. Fear can feel overwhelming because we look for giant leaps of courage. But real bravery is built in small moments. The decision to try something new, to speak up, to keep going after a setback. These moments add up, creating a foundation so strong that fear loses its grip. Another vital piece is learning to embrace discomfort. Fear thrives on comfort zones, the safe spaces where risk is low, but growth is stunted. When you choose to face discomfort, you signal to your brain that you are willing to evolve beyond fear's limitations. It's not easy, and the discomfort can feel intense. But with every uncomfortable step you take, you train your mind and body to handle uncertainty, risk, and even failure with greater ease. This process builds resilience, the ability to bounce back stronger after setbacks. Resilience is not about never failing, it's about never giving up. It's about rising silently every time you fall. It's about cultivating a mindset that sees failure as temporary and growth as endless. As you nurture resilience, remember that failure is often a feedback loop, a way for life to teach you what doesn't. T works so you can find what does. You shift from fearing failure to learning from it. You transform fear into a powerful teacher. Finally, know that your journey is unique. There is no right timeline for overcoming fear. Some days will feel easier, others harder. You might stumble, doubt yourself, or feel overwhelmed. That is natural. The key is to keep moving forward, step by step, breath by breath. Each effort you make, no matter how small, builds momentum. It adds to the quiet strength growing inside you. So embrace the journey with patience and kindness toward yourself. Let the fear come and go like waves, present but never permanent. Stand firm, knowing that you are capable, worthy, and growing stronger every day. This is how you begin to truly overcome fear of failure, by shaping your environment, building daily habits, embracing discomfort, and nurturing resilience. The path forward is not always clear, but it is always yours to walk. And with each step, you rise silently, powerfully, and without fear. To truly overcome the fear of failure, it is essential to understand the role of mindset. Not just any mindset, but a growth mindset. A mindset that believes your abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. This belief changes everything, transforms failure from a judgment into an opportunity. When you adopt a growth mindset, setbacks are no longer signs that you're not good enough. Instead, they become vital feedback on your path to mastery. This mindset is not something you are born with. It is something you cultivate. It starts with recognizing the fixed mindset traps that keep you stuck. These are the thoughts that tell you, I can't, I'm not smart enough, or I will never be good at this. These beliefs are lies that your fear uses to keep you safe in the comfort zone. The shift happens when you challenge these thoughts. When you replace I can't with I can learn, you replace I'm not good enough with I'm growing every day. This is not easy because the fixed mindset is deeply ingrained. It's like an old song playing in your head on repeat. But with consistent effort, you can rewrite the soundtrack of your mind. One of the most powerful ways to nurture a growth mindset is through embracing challenges rather than avoiding them. Every challenge you face is a chance to stretch beyond your current limits. It's where real growth happens. When fear whispers, stay safe, growth says, step forward. This isn't about reckless risk, but about intentional courage. Taking calculated steps into the unknown because you trust your ability to learn and adapt. Another crucial element of a growth mindset is learning to value effort over outcome. Success is rarely instant. It is built from the small, consistent actions taken over time. When you focus on the process rather than the results, you develop patience and persistence. The true companions of courage. This shift also reduces the fear of failure because it frees you from the pressure of perfection. You give yourself permission to make mistakes, to experiment, and to improve. Furthermore, a growth mindset encourages you to seek feedback, even when it's uncomfortable. Feedback is a gift that points out what you can do differently next time. Instead of seeing criticism as a personal attack, you begin to see it as a guide on your path. This openness fuels growth and softens the sting of failure. Cultivating this mindset requires daily practice. It involves noticing when fixed mindset thoughts arise and gently redirecting them. It involves celebrating small wins, no matter how minor, as signs of progress. It means surrounding yourself with people and messages that reinforce growth rather than judgment. Finally, remember that a growth mindset doesn't eliminate fear. Fear will always be part of your journey, but it changes your relationship with fear. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, you see it as a signal, a reminder that you are pushing your boundaries, stepping into new territory, and growing beyond what you thought possible. Overcoming fear of failure is not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming brave enough to keep going despite fear. It's about rising silently when the world expects you to fall. And it all begins with the choice to believe in your ability to grow, to learn, and to succeed. This mindset is your greatest ally. It is the foundation of every step forward on your path to freedom from fear. Another essential aspect of overcoming the fear of failure is learning to redefine success on your own terms. So often we inherit definitions of success from society, family, or peers that don't truly resonate with who we are. These external expectations can weigh heavily, creating pressure that feeds fear. When success is measured only by wealth, fame, or status, failure feels catastrophic. But true success is deeply personal and unique to your journey. It is the quiet satisfaction of growth, the courage to show up authentically, and the peace that comes from pursuing what truly matters to you. To break free from fear, begin by asking yourself, what does success mean to me? What values do I want to live by? What legacy do I want to leave behind? When you answer these questions honestly, you begin to align your actions with your deepest purpose. This alignment creates an inner compass that guides you even when fear rises. Start living for yourself, not for others' approval. This freedom weakens fear's grip because your worth becomes intrinsic, not dependent on external outcomes. It also opens the door to a more compassionate relationship with yourself. You accept that your path will have bumps and setbacks, but these do not define you. They are simply part of the process, the proof that you are pushing towards something meaningful. In this way, redefining success transforms failure from a verdict into a lesson. It shifts your focus from avoiding mistakes to embracing learning. It gives you permission to take risks and try new things without fear of judgment. This mindset is empowering. It reminds you that your value is not tied to what you achieve, but to who you are becoming. Another powerful tool in this journey is visualization. When fear clouds your mind with doubts, visualization helps you reconnect with your goals and dreams. Take a moment each day to close your eyes and imagine yourself succeeding. See the details, the sights, sounds, feelings. Imagine the joy, pride, and peace that come from overcoming challenges. This practice trains your brain to believe in possibility. It strengthens motivation and quiets fear's voice. Visualization is not wishful thinking. It is a mental rehearsal for courage. Alongside visualization, affirmations can reinforce your new story. Simple statements like, I am capable, I learn from failure, and I rise stronger every time, repeated daily build new neural pathways. They replace old beliefs that keep you stuck with empowering truths. The combination of redefining success, visualization, and affirmations creates a powerful mindset shield against fear. It prepares you to face uncertainty with confidence and grace. But remember, no matter how strong your mindset becomes, the fear of failure will still arise. What matters is how you respond. Do you let fear freeze you? Or do you acknowledge it, feel it, and move forward anyway? Courage is the willingness to act in spite of fear, not the absence of it. It is the silent strength that grows in the space between fear and action. Your journey is not about becoming fearless, but about becoming brave enough to persist. Each time you choose action over avoidance, you rewire your brain for resilience. You teach yourself that failure is not final, but a stepping stone to growth. You begin to live a life where fear no longer dictates your decisions, but guides you toward courage. This is the path to freedom, a freedom that comes from rising silently, steadily, and powerfully through every challenge. The fear of failure may never fully disappear, but it will no longer hold you hostage. Instead, it will become a signal that you are on the path of growth. So keep redefining success on your terms, keep visualizing your victories, keep affirming your strength, and most importantly, keep moving forward. Your life is waiting beyond fear. We are ready. As you walk this path of transformation, it's vital to recognize the role of failure as a source of wisdom, not shame. Every time you fail, you gain insight. You learn what works, what doesn't, and who you truly are in the face of adversity. This wisdom is invaluable, yet so often overlooked because failure feels painful and uncomfortable. The truth is, pain is a signal that change is happening. It's the body and mind's way of waking you up to growth. Instead of pushing pain away or numbing it, lean into it. Listen to what it has to teach you. What can this failure reveal about your next best step? What habits or beliefs need to shift? What new skills can you develop? When you approach failure with curiosity instead of fear, you transform it into a powerful teacher. This mindset allows you to take ownership of your journey. You become an active participant in your growth rather than a victim of circumstance. Another profound truth is that failure often strips away illusions. The false stories you tell yourself about how things should be. It humbles you, showing you the limits of control and the vastness of possibility. This humility is a gift. It opens your heart to learning, compassion, and deeper connection with yourself and others. The fear of failure thrives on the desire for control. We want to guarantee success before we try. But life is unpredictable. The only certainty is uncertainty. Learning to embrace uncertainty is the gateway to freedom. When you accept that you cannot control every outcome, you release the pressure to be perfect. You open space for creativity, spontaneity, and true growth. This acceptance builds resilience, the ability to bounce back stronger from setbacks. Resilience is not something you either have or don't. It is built through experience, reflection, and choice. Every time you rise after a fall, you strengthen your resilience muscles. You prove to yourself that you can handle whatever life throws your way. Surrounding yourself with a support system also plays a critical role in building resilience. People who believe in you, who hold space for your fears without judgment, and who encourage your growth become anchors in stormy seas. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. Strength is not found in isolation but in connection. Remember, courage is contagious. When you share your fears and your journey, you inspire others to face their own. Together, you create a ripple effect of bravery and growth that extends far beyond your own life. Lastly, commit to continuous learning. Fear of failure can diminish when you view life as a classroom where every experience, success or failure, is an opportunity to learn. Embrace curiosity, seek knowledge, experiment boldly. The more you learn, the more equipped you become to handle challenges with confidence. Your growth becomes inevitable. The road to overcoming fear of failure is not a straight line. It is a winding path filled with peaks and valleys, triumphs and setbacks. But each step forward, no matter how small, builds momentum. It creates a powerful wave of courage that carries you toward your dreams. So, when fear arises, remind yourself that failure is not the enemy. It is the wise guide pointing you toward growth. Lean into the discomfort, trust your resilience, connect with your support, keep learning, and most of all, keep rising. The life you envision is waiting for you beyond fear. You are stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and capable of more than you imagine. This is your journey. Rise silently, rise powerfully, and rise without fear. There comes a moment in this journey when you realize that the fear of failure has never truly been about failure itself. It has always been about the meaning you give to it, the story you tell yourself about what failure says about you. If you see it as proof that you are inadequate, fear will keep you trapped. But if you see it as evidence that you were brave enough to try, the fear begins to lose its sharp edge. The shift begins with self-identity. Too often, people fuse their sense of self with the results they produce. When they succeed, they feel worthy. When they fail, they feel worthless. This is a dangerous trap because it ties your value to something external and fragile. True freedom comes when you separate who you are from what you achieve. You are not your failures. You are not your successes. You're the person who tries, learns, grows, and keeps going. And that is enough. This detachment from outcomes allows you to face challenges with an open heart. It allows you to take bold action without the crushing weight of "what if I fail?" hanging over your head. Without that weight, you can breathe deeper, think clearer, and move faster toward your goals. Another key to releasing fear is practicing presence. Living fully in the moment, fear thrives on the future, on the endless list of things that might go wrong. But the present moment is where action happens. It is where courage is built. When you anchor yourself in the now, you shrink the space where fear can live. This is why mindfulness is such a powerful tool. By simply paying attention to your breath, your senses, and your current reality, you stop feeding fear's favorite food, imagination of disaster. The present moment rarely contains the catastrophe that fear predicts. In fact, Most of the time, the moment you are in is manageable, and that realization is liberating. Presence also helps you access flow, the state where you are so absorbed in the task at hand that fear has no room to distract you. This is where creativity flourishes and progress feels effortless. Cultivating flow involves working on meaningful tasks that challenge you just enough to keep you engaged, but not so much that you feel overwhelmed. The more often you enter this state, the more you associate action with joy instead of anxiety. The fear of failure fades when action becomes a source of fulfillment rather than a test of worth. It's also vital to celebrate your small wins along the way. Fear often convinces us to overlook progress, making us believe nothing is changing. But every courageous step you take is proof that you are rewriting your story. By recognizing and celebrating these steps, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. You remind yourself that movement matters more than perfection. This steady buildup of confidence is like layering bricks on a wall. Over time, it creates a strong foundation that fear can no longer penetrate. Most importantly, remember that this journey is not about reaching a point where fear disappears forever. It is about learning to coexist with it, to listen without obeying, to respect its presence without giving it control. Fear may walk beside you, but it will not lead the way. You will. You will walk forward, not because the path is certain, but because you have chosen to trust yourself. Trust is the antidote to fear. Trust in your ability to adapt. Trust in your resilience. Trust that even if you fall, you can rise again. Silently, steadily, and stronger than before. This trust is not given. It is built moment by moment, choice by choice. And as you continue, you will see that the fear of failure was never a wall to stop you. It was a door, waiting for you to walk through. And so, after everything we've walked through together, you might realize something quietly but profoundly true. That fear of failure was never really about the failure itself. It was about the story you told yourself about what that failure meant. It was about the weight you placed on other people's opinions. It was about the shame you thought you would carry. But when you look closely, you see that most of those fears are just shadows, big and intimidating in the dark, but powerless when you shine the light of action on them. Every step you take forward, no matter how small, makes the shadows shrink. Every attempt you make, even the ones that don't work, builds a foundation that can never be taken away from you. Failure stops being a verdict and starts being a teacher. And once you've learned to see it that way, it loses its power to hold you back. You will start to notice the changes in yourself. A steady calm where panic used to be. A quiet determination where hesitation once stood. This transformation doesn't happen all at once. It's the result of showing up, again and again, even when you don't feel ready. The truth is, no one ever feels completely ready. The greatest journeys are taken by people who decided to begin before they had all the answers. They chose courage over comfort, progress over perfection, and in doing so, they rewrote the way they saw themselves. You have that same choice now. You can keep waiting for the perfect moment that never comes, or you can decide that today is the day you start. Not because you've erased the fear, but because you've decided it will no longer decide for you. And when you do, you will look back one day and see that the life you wanted was always on the other side of that first trembling step. So take it. Take it now. Because the world will never know what you're capable of until you dare to show them. And you will never know the strength you carry until you let it out into the open. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, then don't let it end here. Carry it with you into your next choice, your next challenge, your next leap forward. And if you want more words that remind you of who you truly are and what you're capable of, stay with us here on Still Rise. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and let this be your space to return to whenever you need to remember your courage, because your rise is only just beginning. And the best part? You don't have to do it alone.